Hey guys, welcome. It's Friday and it is supposed to be story time. And actually, we have too many questions because this week we missed Monday. And so there's a list of questions that are here. But today, since it is supposed to be story time, I want to kind of confess something. And I want to confess this because you know what happens is this, that a lot of times in our life, whenever we have things that kind of go sideways, go wrong, we want to hide them. And instead of hiding them, a lot of times it's better. I feel today I'm secure enough in who I am to talk about some of these things that happen. And this is going to happen to you, or it may have happened to you at one time in your life. I know it happened to me, right? Like at one time in my life, I didn't have enough money, right? I couldn't make rent. Not proud of it, but that's kind of where my life was at the time. And I mean, these kind of things happen, right? At one time in my life, my credit wasn't very, very good, right? And at the time, if somebody had asked me, I would have been embarrassed to admit it. And at that time, I would basically, I like to say little white lies. They weren't little white lies. I would BS about it, bullshit about it, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up is today is supposed to be story time, but there's questions I want to get to. But I want to kind of talk about this because these are things that are going to happen, that as you grow, as your business continues to grow, you're doing a lot of things, everything is great, right? So for me, some of you guys know the Rolls, I bought it out, right, from the lease. When the lease ended, instead of getting a new Rolls, I was like, I'll just buy it out, right? And it was not that much. It was 185,000 or something. That's all it was. And I was like, it's an incredible deal because if I go and buy the same car after I turn it in, it would cost me about 260, right? So I'm like, it makes no sense. I'll just buy it out. Now, here's why I'm telling you this, because sometimes so I had to go to the dealership because they had to do the paperwork for Rolls-Royce and all this stuff. And I had, when I leased it, obviously the lease was through Rolls-Royce. I should have bought it to begin with in the beginning. I didn't. That was a mistake. But anyways, it is what it is. Regardless, I buy the car out, and so I basically, instead of paying 185,000 or whatever it was, plus gas guzzler tax, this, that, all that kind of stuff, I just financed it with the same people because I already had a history with Rolls-Royce, so it was easy to get approved, right? They said pretty much, you're already approved, would rather give you the financing, but this is going to make a lot of money on it, right? And what happened was, when the dealership did the paperwork, they didn't put it on the right forms, whatever Rolls-Royce wants. They want it on their logos, on their nonsense, whatever it is. And I come home, don't worry about it. A week later, I'm like, hey, man, you guys didn't give me the coupon as far as, setting up my payments again, because now it's a new account number, old account number doesn't work, that kind of thing, right? It's going to be a new payment system. So I call them. They're like, oh, yeah. By the way, we messed up on the paperwork. You got to redo the paperwork. I'm like, that's fine. Just send it to me and I'll re-sign it and send it back to you. That's all. Right. So, and then 2-3 weeks go by. Now, mind you, the first payment is coming up and I'm aware of the first payment coming up, but yet I'm like, okay, I'll take care of tomorrow. I call them 2-3 times. They're supposed to call me back. It gets late. Supposed we get it set up. Now, by this time, I don't know if it's been 3 weeks or 4 weeks. By the time I set up my payment, I think I'm supposed to set up the payment for 5/28. So instead of paying it on the day it's due, I said I'm going to pay it a couple days early. And I'm relating the story to you because sometimes what happens is that things happen and then you get upset, and so these things happen to me also. And I get upset as well. And I'm supposed to know what the hell I'm doing. But just because you know what you're doing sometimes, that doesn't mean things are not going to go wrong, is really what I'm trying to say. So I set up the payment goes through, second, third, it's automatic through Chase, right? Didn't think much about it. I have about 14 or 16 refis that I'm doing, right? These are properties I bought, they've been rehabbed, there are tenants in them, or I'm doing midterm rentals or Airbnbs, whatever. And boom, they pull my credit, right? Pull my credit and I get a call. They're like, hey, dude, we got a problem. Well, what's the problem? Well, your credit score came back at 634, right? Now, guys, it's embarrassing, right? It's embarrassing for me. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. For me, for the credit score to come back that low, am I not supposed, if I'm going to talk to you about something, if I'm going to tell you, hey, you should do real estate right, doesn't that mean I should be doing things right? right? So clearly something is off. Well, he's like, well, man, you missed a payment on the rolls. I'm like, that's impossible, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? Here's a history from Chase, right? I've never missed a payment. What do you, I mean, I'm embarrassed that you would even say that. In fact, I wanted to get mad because I'm frustrated. And I say that to say this, that it's not something that's solvable. So I go find out, okay, who's the credit expert to get this thing fixed? Because I can't have that on my credit. I got all these properties that I got to refi. Now, because I was 2 days late. So what happens is, let's say a payment is due on the 1st. You don't pay until the 30th. And then let's say you pay on the 2nd of next month. So the payment was due January 1st. Something happened, whatever happened, right? And then you have a 30-day grace period, and then you ended up paying on the 2nd. Now, what was happening was this: every month it's going out, but 1 month it was a holiday when the payment is scheduled. Now, I had put a 2-day, 3-day buffer, but it happened to go out, be pulled out late, and so I was off by 1 day. Boom, guess what had happened? On my FICO score, it is 30 days late, right? Now, I've said this many, many times, and I want to repeat this, that when you are investing in real estate, if you truly want to be an investor, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, Andrew, credit doesn't matter because, I just buy everything subject to, and I buy everything owner finance. You're an idiot. You're just complete idiot, right? If you're going to own a lot of real estate, your credit matters. That doesn't mean you have to have perfect credit, mind you, right? But if you don't fix it, if you don't start working on it, and I'm the same person at one time in my life, I had terrible credit, right? I'm not proud of it. I'm just telling you the truth. So it's not like it's not fixable. So in this case, clearly, I did not intend to be late. I clearly didn't intend to be in this situation, but that's what happened. So I talked to the credit lady. I'm like, hey, man, I got to get this fixed. She's like, well, do you want it fixed in 2 months? You want it fixed like in 3 weeks? I'm like, I want it fixed tomorrow. She's like, to get all this stuff done, it's going to be kind of expensive. I'm like, I don't care what it's going to be. I got to get it fixed tomorrow. I want any inquiries taken off my credit. I want it fixed, period, right? I goofed up. So she's like, no, you're running one payment behind. You may not realize it, which I didn't. So immediately make a payment. I immediately pay that. So now everything will go exactly it's supposed to, right? And I say that to say this, that sometimes, what happens is you may intend to do the right thing, but wrong things happen. And this is something, and this is specifically for people from Mastery. We're going to have this lady come and speak in Mastery, because even some of the things she said, like she said, she was talking about something, which was, she's like, did you realize on your FICO score, if you are 30 days late once, you take 100-point hit. I had no idea. I literally, on hundreds of properties. And I did not know, right? And shame on me, I did not know, but I did not know. And 100-point hit. So you can have a credit score at 740 if you're buying a lot of properties, right? Your credit score is never going to be perfect. It's not going to be, because you're going to have 3 to 4 inquiries a year, right? Especially with commercial loans, if I get one inquiry, I can get 6, 7, 8 deals done with that one inquiry in the next 4 months to 6 months, depending on who the commercial lender is. But that's just how it is. So I expect my credit score generally to be between about, no lower than 720 for sure, right? 740, 760 obviously is excellent. Anything over 720, you're good. And that's where I was expecting it to be. So what she said to me was a couple of key things. She's like, the other thing is that if you miss one payment, right, that shows that it's going to take 100-point hit. I'm like, why so? She's like, well, the way the FICO model works is that it's a predictor of how much predictability are you going to be 90 days late. That's how it works. So if somebody is 30 days late, they're probably going to be 90 days late. That's what the algorithm says. And so boom, you get banged right at the first time. And you can be 1 day late. Guess what happens? It doesn't matter. You're just going to get slammed with that, right? And that takes a terrible toll for people. Most people don't talk about this because they either just have terrible credit and they try to avoid paying. I'm not trying to do that. I just wanted to make sure this damn thing gets fixed. And how do I fix it? So other thing she said, which I was not aware of, 3 years ago, 3 years ago, right? I don't know, I had I guess a credit card with US Bank, and on that particular credit card, I had $100 balance or something like that, right? I never used the credit card. It's not even in my wallet, but I guess it's sitting at home. It's an open line, right? I didn't want to close the line because I'd heard, hey, don't close your lines because open credit is good. That way you have available credit you're not using. And something got auto charged on there, or I charged it, whatever the hell happened, right? Literally, it's a $59 charge or something like that. And then it becomes a $79 charge because I apparently didn't know, didn't pay attention to that particular bank account. And every month now it was, and this is 3-4 years ago, right? It was 90 days late, right? Guys, these types of things take a toll on your credit. And now it's in the past, right? It's 3 years ago, but yet that silly $59 or $79 thing, right? It can wreck your credit, right? These are things you have to pay attention to. And I'm bringing this up because I'm going through this. And she's like, well, there are some inquiries. These inquiries should be removed, right? Because it seems like you pay all your bills, but there are a bunch of these inquiries, right? And so I'm getting all of that cleared up. But I just wanted to bring that up, that sometimes, you can know a lot, yet have gaps in your information, in your knowledge, and so I wanted to kind of admit that, even though that was not on the agenda, because that's something that I am working on in earnest to make sure that damn thing is done, because my 14, 15 refis are stuck. Otherwise I'd have to have my sister Seema or somebody refi it out, because I'm buying more properties, right? So anyways, I wanted to admit that's something that you should be paying attention to, and I was not. I just assumed that I pay my bills on time, everything is good. So that's that. Anyways, so the first question that was missed on Monday, I wanted to go back and address it, and that was interest rates are high, should I wait to buy? Now, in this case, this question is a little different, that's why I wanted to address it. This person has a house in Stickney. I'm eliminating the address because this is a property they're working on right now. Please don't share the address, so I'm not going to share the address. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath bungalow, and it's my relative's property. The family wants to sell the house, and they've had the property. Basically, they've come to a conclusion that they want to sell. They want to get $149,000 for the property. So the family wants to get $149,000 for the property. And the property, this gentleman sent me some pictures, and the property needs about, in his estimation, it was about 65, 70 in work. My estimate on this property is 45 would be a far stretch, right? If this person actually spends $45,000 fixing up this property, I think they're crazy. It just doesn't make any sense to spend any more. So I'm taking, excuse me, 45 is the number. So as we would say in Mastery, is all in the deal, meaning purchase plus the rehab cost of it is going to be somewhere around $200,000, right? And this property is worth, after, if he fixes the property up, the property is going to be worth about somewhere around 340, 345. That's what the property is worth. And so the financial advisor that supposedly this person goes to tells him, well, right now is not a good time to buy a house because the interest rate is high. And I'm like, listen, clearly, this financial advisor does not understand simple math. You're getting a house here in Stickney, great area. It's a nice bungalow. It's a 3-2, and I think it's a 3-2, 2.5. If I'm, he probably doesn't realize it, but it's a 2.5. It's not just a 3-2, right? It's a beautiful bungalow. It has the big addition. It has those, beautiful windows on the front of it. I mean, this property, I think at 350, 360 is a cheap deal, right? Cheap, right? Probably the property's worth even a little bit more with the pictures that I'm looking at, right? And whoever this financial advisor is nuts, because even if this person buys the property with a commercial loan, right? And this person, he says, well, all I have is $140,000. And the financial advisor says it's a bad deal, so I should keep the money invested with him. I'm like, of course, he's going to say that keep the money invested with him, right? Why? Because you're getting a pathetic return, and he wants you to continue getting a pathetic return, right? I'm like, listen, man, you got to buy this property. You cannot pass up this property because interest rate could be 10%, could be 12%. It's such a great bloody deal. Guys, think about this. When we are investing, what is it about? It's about what is the cost versus what is the reward. See, price is what you pay, and then value is what you get. For any item, if you pay, say, $10,000 for something, but you get 40,000 in value, is that 10,000 a good investment? In this case, this gentleman, for 200,000, right, and I think it's going to be less, but for 200,000, he's getting a property that's 360. Right? He would be crazy. I'm like, hey, man, please, for God's sake, if you don't want, I'm just being honest with you, I'm like, if you don't want to keep the property, please, right? I'll be happy to buy the property from you. There's a bunch of people from Mastery that would love to buy this property from you, and I'll give you 30, 40,000 bucks cash. You don't have to do a thing, right? I'm happy to take this off your hands, but your financial advisor should be fired ASAP, right? Because clearly, they're not giving you financial advice. They're giving you advice that's just good for you. I'm glad that this person, sent this question. So please, if you're listening, make sure. But otherwise, I did send you an email about 10 minutes ago. So hopefully you did get that email. So please do not let this property go. It is a gemstone. And if you don't want to buy it, we will be happy to pay you a pretty handsome wholesale fee on this. And I think it'll put a big smile on your face. Maybe if you're married or whatever, take your family on a nice little vacation, and then you'll have a bunch left over. Next one. I have a deal that I'm getting from a wholesaler. I have a lot of people that are interested in the property. What do? I do not have the deal under contract, right? So, so this particular person has a property that they can get the property, and they're buying this particular property for 110. The back-end value on this property fixed up, right? It needs a lot of work, but fixed up, the back-end value on the property is going to be pretty good, right? It's going to be probably somewhere around 330, 340. Right. And so the problem is this. They have, I guess they came to one of the meetings at Chicago RIA. They've gone to some other, they belong to some other wholesaler groups. And there's a bunch of people that are like, oh, yeah, we can go meet with the seller and we can get it under contract. We'll pay you a wholesale fee. Please. Do not absolutely give out your address, number one, of the property. Number one. Right? I don't care how much you trust the person. You're way too new in real estate. Do not give out the address of the property. That's number one. Number two, right? Reach out to us, right? You obviously reached out to us for the Q&A. So we will send you a purchase and sale contract for buying the property directly from the seller, right? And if you need help, we'll help you fill it out. And please, I'm not asking for anything, and I know you're not a part of Mastery, so that's still okay. I'm happy to help with this, but before you wholesale the property to somebody else, please give us a shot at it. We're happy to buy it. I know a handful of people in Mastery, actually a bunch of people in Mastery, would love to buy this particular property. This is an area where I don't necessarily buy properties in, but clearly there are people in Mastery that would love to buy this property, and you don't have to worry about it. We will 100% fund this deal out of Mastery, so it'll be a cash buyer, 0 inspections, assuming either I get a chance to walk through it or somebody from Mastery gets a chance to walk through it once, and that's it. And we'll close on the property 30-day flat out. But please, do not give the address of the property without getting the property under contract. And I know, and this person also is like, well, I was told, so this person was told by some guru that go and give $10 token earnest money. Please, if you don't have the earnest money, we'll front $1,000 of earnest money for you, and just go ahead and give that. Can you get a property under contract for $10 token earnest money? You could for $1, you could for a penny, as long as there's some consideration, right? You could do that. But this is a good property. It's a really good property. So don't be silly. right? Get it under contract, and we can certainly send you a couple people that'll be happy. And contact Gina's office as Diaz Case Law. She will more than be happy to assist you with this situation. And I think you can really do well, and you can make a good margin, because I know you're not in ability to be able to buy the property. Now, this question kind of relates to the next question, right? Not in the similar way, but it's a wholesale question also. The wholesaler, so this is a question, wholesaler is making $27,000 on this particular deal, and I want to renegotiate it down. Not me, this person who's asking the question. I want to renegotiate it down. Do you think I can do so without making them mad, right? Hey, listen, think about this, right? Think about, put yourself in the wholesaler's shoes. You do a whole bunch of marketing, right? A bunch of it doesn't work. Maybe you get a call or two, or you have to do a bunch more mailings or door knocking or cold calling, whatever this person did to find this deal, right? Now they finally find a deal, and now supposedly somebody's buying the deal. Now you're making $27,000, put yourself in those shoes. And now they want to come back and renegotiate the wholesale deal. Why do you want to renegotiate it, right? You're renegotiating it because it's not a good deal. Clearly, this deal that if the numbers that you're telling me are true, this is a pretty good deal, right? It's actually a very good deal. And if you're going to renegotiate it, now how do you expect for the wholesaler not to get mad at you, right? You agreed to their terms and conditions, and you said yes. You posted $6,000 in earnest money. I mean, listen, if I was them, if it was somebody from Mastery that was the wholesaler, I would absolutely tell them, no, keep all your earnest money and kill your contract, go wholesale the property again, right? Because you're being unfair to this person. You're not renegotiating the deal because you didn't know some material facts in the property. You supposedly walked the property. You got the village inspection. Now you found out that they're basically making $27,000 and you're a day from closing, and now you want to renegotiate. I think, sir, you're being 100% unfair. I appreciate you asking this question, but you're going to make them mad, right? I would not burn that relationship. My suggestion to you would be if you don't want to buy it, maybe somebody else will buy the property. Let us know. We'll buy the property, but this person, whoever the wholesaler is, right, they have earned their keep. They should be getting paid whatever you agreed to them, because you're not saying that, hey, there was something changed on you. You're just saying that now you feel they're making too much money, so now you're going to renegotiate, and you still don't want them to be mad. Unless I don't know some of the material facts, I think you're going to get them mad, and they can go after you for non-performance of the contract, and also keep your earnest money and go sell the property to somebody else. So I wouldn't do that. I'm assuming you have the funds to be able to close on this property. So that's just my 2 cents. Hopefully that makes sense. The next question is that what should I be paying? Meaning I have an attorney, or I'm talking to an attorney, and I'm going to be doing a double close. So I guess assuming that this person is a buyer, this person is a wholesaler, This person is a wholesaler, and they have to pay the basically cost for a double closing. So they're going to have to pay the cost on the buy side. They're going to pay the cost on the sale side. And the property is somewhere around $208,000. That's the price of the property. Why does it matter? Because your title costs are based on slabs, meaning what is the price? Is it $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000? As the property price goes up, your price for title insurance goes up with it, right? So in this case, that's why the 208 is relevant. So for $208,000, the attorney is charging me $4,200 for supposedly for closing. And then on top of that, just for title costs, they've given me about a $8,000 estimate, right? So $40-some hundred from the attorney's cost, they're saying, and another $8,000 for title fees. So he's trying to figure out what is realistic. Now, I don't know the details. I don't know how much work the attorney is going to do or has done for you. I have no idea, right? So I want to kind of put that out there. So take this with a grain of salt. But if this is a deal you're just putting together, right, the amount of money you're being charged is obscene, period. Right? Maybe the attorney charges you $650 each side, or maybe even $1,000 each side. So that's $2,000, and then they're going to make money on title, which they're entitled to, right? They're agents of the title company, so they're entitled to make money on it. But the amount of money that you're being told you're being charged, I think, is obscene. Not just high, I think it's obscene. So I don't think it should cost anywhere close to that. You should definitely be paying a lot less. And my suggestion would be is that unless you've already engaged an attorney, right? Unless you've already done that, I would call Diaz Case Law, Gina Diaz office. Just look up Diaz Case Law, Gina Diaz, and you'll be able to find her information, and they'll be able to help you do it. I bet you. You save at least 40%, if not more, because the costs that you're telling me are terribly high in this particular transaction. So having said that, it is Friday, and we're going to keep today's Q&A, part of the story, part of this, kind of a bit short. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. I know everybody that's watching from Mastery, you have a long day tomorrow because it is a rehabbing weekend. Todd is going to be in town, and it's going to be all about the 3-pager tomorrow. So having said that, this is Andrew. Please like, love, share the group. That's how we get to grow. Hopefully you guys find these everyday situations, the realistic examples we go through of some help. And that's how we grow, if you share it with your friends, with your family, with other fellow investors. Having said that, thanks so much. Have a safe weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.